Hi everyone, Josh Peck here. As many of you know, a few weeks ago, our 11-year-old son Nathan was admitted to the hospital with very serious symptoms. He now has an official diagnosis, and it's pretty bleak. Yet, as we all know, our God is more powerful than anything the world can throw at us. He's been diagnosed with an incredibly rare cancer that they're calling histiocytic sarcoma. From what we've been told, there have only been about 100 documented cases of this ever, and the survival rate is incredibly low. It's so rare that there is no established protocol for treatment. Now, that doesn't mean it isn't treatable, it just means there's no official way of handling that. At the time of this recording, Nathan is in the hospital receiving the best treatment his team could come up with to fight this. We don't know how long he will have to be in the hospital. We're dealing with this on a day-by-day basis. On top of that, while all of this was going on, we have had to evacuate our home due to a very serious mold issue. Because of this, our entire family has had to live in Airbnbs for the last 3 weeks. Even with this, there's still a lot we don't know. We don't know how our renters are going to handle this. We don't know how long the cleanup process will take. We don't even know for sure if we'll ever be able to return to the house. And because of this, we are currently looking for a new place to live. With Nathan's compromised and fragile immune system, he absolutely cannot return to the house until the entire mold situation is under control. It's very likely we will have to completely abandon the house and look for a new one, which, as many of you know, can be a very long, stressful, and expensive process. However, as I've always told my family, you can't really put a price tag on health, especially of our children, and we believe the Lord will provide. Now, as most men, I do not enjoy asking for help. However, as most fathers and husbands can relate to, there isn't anything I won't do for my family, especially our sick child who is in the hospital with a life-threatening illness. This is as serious as it gets. It is not overstating it to say this is a literal life and death situation. In light of that, I wanted to first ask all of you to please pray for our son, our family, and our housing situation. Also, because of the overwhelming expenses that inevitably come up from all these things happening at the same time, if you feel led to help financially for Nathan's medical care, hospital bills, and anything else that might come up, there's a couple different ways you can do that. We have a Give, Send, Go, which is givesendgo.com/NathanTheBrave. Our PayPal is paypal.me/JoshPeckDisclosure. Or you can send in your donation to P.O. Box 270123, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73137. I also want to kindly ask everyone to please refrain from offering us medical advice. I know your hearts are in the right place, but it can become overwhelming for us when we receive dozens or even hundreds of conflicting recommendations that just don't apply to Nathan's unique physiology. Instead, we just ask that you give all of those to God and pray for our wisdom as well as the wisdom of Nathan's medical team, and let's just all trust God together that He knows what He's doing. I want to thank all of you so much for your prayers, encouragement, and generosity through this extremely difficult time. All that being said, love you all, take care, and God bless. Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Josh Peck here. So how exactly can emerging technology explain some of the more enigmatic prophecies of the Bible? We live in a time unlike any other. Even more, there are prophecies in the Bible that would have been impossible to fulfill until today's modern age. So could this explain why throughout history and today we see many Christians adopt a symbolic view of prophecy? You know, the thing is, prophetic fulfillment is literal when we look back at completed prophecies. Jesus literally was born to a virgin. He literally died for our sins. The Holy Spirit literally came to dwell in believers. So we can easily look back to every prophecy that has already been fulfilled and discover for ourselves that they were all filled literally. They were all easy to understand once the fulfillment occurred. So why should we expect future prophecies to be any different? That's what we're going to talk about today before we get more into it. If you would like a copy of the transcript of the show notes of this video, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can go to dailyrenegade.com and get a membership there. And there, not only will you have access to the show notes, but you'll have access to all of our full videos, stuff that we cannot put on YouTube because of censorship issues. Stuff that's not available anywhere else. Also at dailyrenegade.com, there's a community tab where you can fellowship with like-minded believers. And there's no censorship, so you can talk about whatever you want. So that is dailyrenegade.com, and at dailyrenegade.com, that comes in the form of a PDF you can download. If you don't want to do that, you can go to joshpeck.substack.com, and then you get to view this entire post as basically like a blog post. It's an online article format, so you'll have all the information there, and you'll be able to view it there. Also at joshpeck.substack.com, you get the audio-only podcast version of everything that we do. So if you don't want to deal with the video and you just want to listen to it, if you're in the car or doing chores around the house, then that's a great option. I think it's best to just put both together. And if you want more information on that, because that way you get the best of both worlds, all of the links and everything are in the description below. So make sure you check that out. It's been a while since we've done an update video. I would like to do these daily, but things, as you saw in the short video that played before this, things have been really chaotic in our lives over here. So please continue to keep us in prayer, and and if you wanted to help financially, all that information's in the description below as well. So today I wanted to look at a few of these prophecies that really couldn't have been fulfilled until today, and I wanted to show how the way that they've been interpreted in the past was really more symbolically, because in the past, before a lot of the modern technology that we have now, people couldn't really understand how these prophecies were going to be fulfilled. So a common solution was to make them more symbolic, instead of taking the prophecies at literal face value. And that's my approach. That's what I believe we should do, because when you look at past prophecies, that's how they were fulfilled. Now, of course, there's always idioms, turns of phrases. There are some symbols that are used, but usually you can find out the context of that just by the passage itself, or there'll be an angel that'll explain the symbols. You know, the prophet will ask, "What are these?" and then the angel will explain what it is. Or you can just look to the historical context to find if there's an idiom, which is like a turn of phrase. So all of those can be discovered pretty easily, but when you really dig down into it, when you really look at all the prophecies that have been already fulfilled, they've been fulfilled literally. So we should assume that the future ones will be as well. And if we assume that, then we can see how modern technology can definitely answer basically all of these. So I just wanted to go through a few of those for today's video. So the first one, Matthew 24:14 says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So that's, again, Matthew 24:14. Now, while this technically could have been fulfilled before our modern age, it's impossible to argue against the fact that technology has made this much more manageable to preach the gospel throughout the entire world. Now, generally speaking, all the world has heard the gospel now and has had a chance to respond to it. Again, generally speaking, and I believe that's the context here. "And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So like I said, all the world has heard the gospel now and had a chance to respond to it. So many nations, such as Afghanistan, Libya, and Somalia, have banned Bibles and evangelism. Yet, through the use of the internet, people all around the world have had the chance to hear the gospel. Now, of course, one could bring up places untouched by our modern world, but these are really far and few between. Matthew 21:14 does not indicate that everyone will hear the gospel before the end, like every single individual. I mean, you have to think about it too, just logically. There's going to be babies in the womb that can't, hear the gospel, and but instead, it says that the gospel will be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. So, would a small unknown tribe in the Amazon jungle constitute a nation? Probably not. Instead, it seems to mean that, generally the whole world will be aware of the gospel, and we are indeed living in those times now.
Hey everyone. Concerning the economically unstable times that we live in, it is a great idea to convert some of your savings into real money. Now, there is a big difference between real money and what we call money, which is actually currency. So our dollar is currency, which fluctuates. Real money, like silver, is a store of value over time. The best way to think of it is like this. If you had saved $1,000 in cash back in the late 60s, the late 1960s, that $1,000 would still be $1,000 today, but it would buy you significantly less today due to inflation. Now, if you saved that same $1,000 in silver back in the 1960s, it would be around $28,000 today. So one of the best ways to protect your purchasing power is in real money, more specifically, silver. Now, you can buy and have the metal shipped discreetly to your door, and what most people don't know is that you can actually convert your IRA or even your 401k into physical silver rather than having all your life savings tied up in the paper fiat system, which is, of course, subject to hyperinflation. So go to dailyrenegade.com right now and click on the Cornerstone Asset Metals banner and sign up to get your free silver report. One of the financial experts will speak with you and find out the best way to protect your savings going forward in these uncertain times. You can also click on the link in the description below that goes directly to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Make sure you tell them that Josh Peck at Daily Renegade sent you. It is time to stop trusting the evil beast financial system of the world and protect your assets today.
There's another one in Revelation. Revelation 11:9 says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. This is talking about the two witnesses. When the two witnesses are killed, this is how they respond. But again, that first part there, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies. So this is basically everybody, right? People, kindreds, tongues, nations. Now, when the two witnesses die, the entire world rejoices. Revelation 11:9 even goes as far as to say, people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies, indicating that not only local people are viewing this, everyone can view the dead bodies of the two witnesses. Now, today this makes perfect sense. We should expect an event like this to appear on television with many news outlets covering the story. You could compare this to the most recent tragedy that struck the nation, the martyrdom of Charlie Kirk. The entire world saw that. Many of you saw the video on X. I unfortunately had to see it too because I was looking for updates to see if he was okay, to see if he was going to survive. And X was, at least on my phone, in my feeds, X was the fastest one that was giving me updates. But every time I refreshed the screen to see if there was a new update, that video would pop up. I mean, for the first couple of hours after it happened, the video showing the whole thing popped up. So it was pretty unavoidable. The whole world saw that. So the same thing with these two witnesses. It makes perfect sense today. However, this would have been impossible when John recorded this prophecy roughly 2,000 years ago. How could someone in China or South America see what's happening in Israel? They couldn't witness the event unless they traveled there personally back then. So it can help us greatly to gain some perspective from people of the past who wrestled with the same questions and tried to gain understanding from their own time period. So we can actually look at Bible commentaries written before the invention of television and the internet to see how they would have interpreted this verse. So the Meyer's New Testament commentary, written by Heinrich August Wilhelm Meyer in 1832, says this. From peoples, kindreds, etc., Revelation 5:9, Jews and Gentiles, Revelation 11:2, Many then have assembled in Jerusalem. So the idea there is that they couldn't understand how the whole world would be able to see it, so they thought basically that many people from different nations and peoples and tongues and everything were just gathered in Jerusalem while this was happening. And of course, in a world without television or the internet, it would be tough to imagine how the whole world could see this. So it makes sense that the natural inclination would be to minimize the size of the group viewing this spectacle to only a few who were able to be present at the time. And yeah, that's one interpretation, but it doesn't really say that, you know. But in our modern age, with television and the internet, this prophecy is no problem. We can expand it to the entire world, just as the passage seems to indicate. So it's really interesting. Now, a very familiar one, Revelation 13, 16 through 17 says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." That's, again, Revelation 13, 16 through 17. So, for decades, there have been many theories on how technology would fulfill the mark of the beast prophecy. So I remember I grew up in the 80s. A popular view in the 1980s was the mark of the beast would be a barcode tattooed on the hand or the forehead. Later in the 2000s, it was an RFID chip. Nowadays, many believe that it'll be a smaller microchip or implantable gene editing device of some kind. And the scary thing is, we are already seeing people with things similar today. You know, the concept of embedding microchips into humans traces back to about 1998, but it's only in recent years that this technology has made its way to the mainstream. Now, interestingly, a British-Polish company seems particularly enthusiastic about implantable payment chips. So this is a quote from that. It says, "Walletmore proudly claims to be the first company to sell these revolutionary payment chips. According to Wojtek Paprota, the CEO and founder, these chips make global payments a breeze. Whether you're enjoying a cocktail on Rio's beaches, grabbing your morning coffee during New York's rush hour, or getting a stylish haircut in Paris, the chip can even handle your routine grocery shopping." End quote. But what exactly is the implant in your body? Well, according to Waltimore, this chip is smaller than an average paperclip and weighs less than a grain of rice. It consists of a tiny microchip with an antenna surrounded by biopolymer material that resembles plastic but comes from nature. Now, surprisingly, today, and this was kind of shocking. This is one of those things where you hear it and it's surprising, but it's also not surprising at the same time. Today, over 50,000 people have an implantable chip. That number will undoubtedly rise within the next few years, and it seems obvious that this type of technology is a good candidate for understanding the future Mark of the Beast prophecy. Now, I'm not saying that these implants are the fulfillment. We're not there yet. That's well into the tribulation when that happens, and we're not in the tribulation yet. But we can see precursors. We can see shadows of it. We can see birth pangs of it. And I think that's what's happening now. With technology advancing rapidly and the boundaries between humans and technology blurring, what might be the next chip they suggest for us to consider implanting? Only time will tell, and I don't think it's going to take long to find out.
I have just started a Substack. What is a Substack, you might ask? It is a place that contains early access to audio-only podcast versions of full Daily Renegade videos, plus my personal blog, which includes original articles, show notes, interview transcripts, and so much more. This is the only place to get this amazing resource, and it is not available to the general public. Adding a subscription to my Substack to your Daily Renegade membership will ensure that you have full access to every format of every everything that I do. So head on over to joshpeck.substack.com or click on the link in the description below to join up now for only $5 a month or $50 a year. And if you can do it, I suggest doing the $50 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free. So I cannot wait to see you there. Take care and God bless.
Here's another one that's really interesting. Revelation 13:3 says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast." Now let's connect that with Revelation 13:14 through 15, which says, "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." And again, that's Revelation 13:14 through 15. Now, there are multiple ways of interpreting these verses, but a popular one says that the future Antichrist is killed and resurrected. But this leads many to wonder, how could this happen? Well, one possible way is by use of what's called an avatar. So, in technological terms, an avatar is a robotic or a 3D printed, a manufactured body that a person can operate remotely. So, this is not only like a future thing. Robotic avatars are here now and have been for over a year, maybe even over a couple of years at this point. These avatars are not simply digital representations used for gaming or social media. Instead, they are entities that strive to encapsulate the very essence of humanity, which are consciousness, personality, and even brain functionality. So Dr. Theodore Berger from the University of Southern California has progressed greatly in this field. He has successfully replicated the hippocampus function, which is like our brain's center for memory and learning, and he's done this in rats. So just imagine that, a replication of a part of our brains. What about Dr. Berger himself? He looks toward the horizon with anticipation, longing for the day he can transfer his cognitive makeup into an avatar. His goal is undeniably intriguing to the outside world, albeit foreboding to us Christians with a clear understanding of Bible prophecy, to pave the way for solutions that could potentially enhance human beings. But let's shift our focus to the implications at hand. So, implementing this hippocampus through trials could lead to devices already implanted within, could lead to devices directly implanted within our brains. So these devices would either bypass damaged regions within our hippocampus or unsettlingly augment human memory capacity. It's not only about addressing health concerns, it also delves into enhancement possibilities. So at the moment, of course, it's being portrayed as a development for science. However, the ultimate goal is to recreate every brain detail, understanding the complex web of connections and synapses. Once they achieve that milestone, they will transfer a brain into an artificial vessel, an avatar. The implications are enormous. It goes beyond extending life or healing. It delves into reshaping really what it means to be human. So the question is, could this be how the Antichrist comes back to life? Maybe his physical body isn't injured, and instead perhaps it's a lifelike avatar made from a 3D printed biological materials. Could this possibly also explain the image of the beast prophecy? Maybe the image refers to an Antichrist avatar that utilizes intelligence specifically designed to mimic the personality of the Antichrist. We're already messing around with technology like this today. Could it be an avatar possessed by a demon. With these things, only time will reveal the truth. However, today we can observe how technological advancements bring these prophecies closer to reality. But, of course, there are many other prophecies, and I would love to know if there are any that you can think of that I may have missed. This is not an exhaustive list, of course. But go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section and let me know what prophecies, what future prophecies, what end time prophecies are you aware of that you don't think could have been fulfilled rationally without modern technology? What prophecies do you think are going to be fulfilled through either technology we have now or that we'll have in the near future? Because I believe time is short. And what do you guys think about that? Also, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell to turn on all notifications. So that is it for today. I'm excited to look at your comments. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, love you all. Take care and God bless.
If you are a Bible-believing Christian who opposes the kingdom of darkness trying to run the world right now, then you are a renegade to the satanic system. We here at Daily Renegade wear that badge proudly. So, if you're a renegade as well, head on over to dailyrenegade.com right now and get a membership today. You'll get our full catalog of Sharpening Report episodes and Daily Renegade update videos on topics such as Bible prophecy, science, technology, the Nephilim, aliens, and so much more. All of our episodes at Daily Renegade are early access, so as a member, you'll get the videos before anyone else does. Daily Renegade also offers videos not available anywhere else due to social media censorship. We also have a community page only for members where we can all fellowship together without fear of censorship. It's basically the best of Facebook and YouTube rolled into one without any of the garbage. Memberships are only $10 a month or $100 a year, and if you can do it, I suggest getting the $100 a year because it's cheaper in the long run, and essentially you get 2 months for free that way. So come join our family of renegades at dailyrenegade.com right now. The link is in the description below, and we'll see you there.